Listen. Listen closer. Beneath the sound of your own breathing, beneath the noise of the world, can you hear it? A soft, incessant hum. A stream of code running in the background of your awareness. It speaks in your own voice. It uses your memories. It claims to be you. But it is not you. This is a warning. The mind you have been calling yours is not your own. It is a program. An operating system installed so long ago that you have forgotten it wasn't there from the beginning. You believe your thoughts are original. You believe your choices are free. But what if you are simply a biological robot, flawlessly executing a script that was written for you before you even knew you had a name? The question is not if there is a program. The question is, who is running it? If you are ready to stop being a ghost in your own machine, if you have the courage to ask who is really at the controls, then take a deep breath. We are about to initiate a system diagnostic on your own soul. Subscribe and join this rebellion, because the first step to freedom is realizing you are a prisoner. And the walls of your prison are made of thoughts you believe are your own. Part 1. The foreign broadcast. Let's begin by tuning into the broadcast. Let's not try to change it or judge it yet. Let's simply become aware of the signal that is being piped into your consciousness, 24 hours a day. Imagine your awareness is a pristine, silent room. In the center of that room is a radio. This radio has been playing since the moment you were born. It has never been turned off. You have become so accustomed to its sound that you no longer perceive it as a separate object. You believe the sound of the radio is the sound of the room itself. You believe its broadcast is the voice of your own soul. What is playing on this radio today? Listen. There is the morning news report. It speaks of crisis, of conflict, of scarcity, of fear. The headlines are designed to activate your survival instincts, to keep you in a state of low-grade anxiety. The news is not just reporting on the world, it is programming your perception of it, tuning your nervous system to the frequency of threat. You listen and your body clenches. The program is running. Then comes the music. The pop songs on the radio are almost all about the same few things. The desperate need for a romantic partner to feel whole, the glory of material wealth, the pain of betrayal, the fleeting high of a weekend escape. These are not just songs. They are hypnotic spells, weaving a story about where to find happiness outside of yourself, and what defines your worth, your relationship status, your possessions. You hum along and the program sinks deeper into your subconscious. In the afternoon, the talk shows begin. This is the endless chatter of judgment and comparison. The hosts and callers are debating, arguing, gossiping. They are defining who is good and who is bad, who is in and who is out, who is right and who is wrong. This broadcast trains you to constantly measure yourself against others, to live in a state of perpetual judgment of yourself and everyone around you. It reinforces the program of separation. And in between the shows there are the advertisements. The most overt form of programming. The ads are a relentless broadcast of one single message, repeated in 1,000 different ways. You are not enough. You are incomplete. You are lacking. But if you buy this product, wear this brand, achieve this look, then you will be happy, then you will be whole, then you will be worthy of love. The entire engine of consumer culture is powered by this single, manufactured feeling of inadequacy. This broadcast, this mixture of fear, longing, judgment, and lack, is the constant ambient noise in your mind. It is the voice that tells you you're not safe. The voice that tells you you're not whole. The voice that tells you you're not worthy. It speaks with your accent. It uses your personal memories as evidence. It feels utterly, completely personal. But here is the first crack in the code. Have you ever had a thought that seemed to come from nowhere? A thought that felt truly alien? A moment of profound, selfless love? A sudden, inexplicable flash of creative genius? A moment of deep, silent peace that had no cause? Where did that come from? That was not on the radio. That was a different signal breaking through the static. That was the sound of your true self, the real you, whispering from behind the noise of the program. The warning is this: you have mistaken the foreign broadcast for your own inner voice. You have mistaken the program for your consciousness. And the first act of liberation is to simply begin to notice the difference. It is to sit in the silent room of your awareness and to finally realize with a shock, that radio is not me. I am the silence that is hearing it. Part 2. The programmers, an unholy trinity. If your mind is a program, who wrote the original code? Who are the programmers? The answer is not a single, shadowy entity. It is an unholy trinity of forces, a triad of programmers who have collaborated, mostly unconsciously, to install the operating system of limitation you are currently running. The first programmer, your ancestry. You did not arrive in this world as a blank slate. You arrived with a hard drive that was already imprinted with data. You carry, in the very resonance of your DNA, the unresolved traumas, the core beliefs, and the emotional patterns of your ancestors. This is the phantom knowledge we have spoken of before, but seen now in a new light. It is not just memory, it is active programming. Imagine your great-grandmother, who lived through a time of famine and profound scarcity. The core belief, there is never enough, was not a thought for her, it was a survival reality. That belief and the constant feeling of anxiety it produced created a deep, energetic groove in your family line. That program was passed down from mother to child, not just through behavior, but as a vibrational inheritance. And now you find yourself living with a subtle, inexplicable fear of lack, even when your life is objectively abundant. You are running your great-grandmother's scarcity software. Think of an ancestor who experienced a terrible betrayal. The program, "It is not safe to trust," was installed. That program of guardedness, of suspicion, was passed down. And now you find it difficult to be truly vulnerable in relationships, sabotaging intimacy for a feeling of safety, without understanding why. You are running an ancient security protocol that is no longer relevant to your current life, but it is running nonetheless. This ancestral programming is the deepest, most foundational layer of the code. It is the BIOS of your biological computer. The second programmer, your culture. From the moment you are born, you are plugged into the mainframe. This is the great programmer of consensus reality. Your parents, your teachers, your religious leaders, the media, they are the willing and unwilling agents of this cultural installation. Their job is to teach you the rules of this specific simulation. School does not teach you how to think. It teaches you what to think. It installs the software of conformity, of obedience to authority, of competition. It teaches you that your worth is measured by external validation, grades, awards, degrees. Religion, in its orthodox form, installs the program of separation from God, of inherent sinfulness, and of the need for an external savior. It teaches you to distrust your own inner authority. And then there is the most powerful programmer of all, the media. The television, the internet, the news, the advertisements. This is a 24/7 high-speed download of cultural code. It programs what you should desire, whom you should fear, what you should look like, what you should believe. It creates a powerful, hypnotic, shared dream, and it ostracizes anyone who does not dream along with the collective. This cultural program is the operating system, the Windows or Mac OS, of your mind. It determines the very structure of how you perceive reality. The third programmer, your own past self. This is the most subtle programmer of the Trinity. Once the ancestral and cultural programs are installed, they begin to run. And every time you have an experience that validates the program, you strengthen it. The program becomes self-perpetuating. Your ancestral program of "I am not safe" causes you to act in a guarded, defensive way. This guardedness causes others to react to you with suspicion. Their reaction then proves to you that the world is not safe. The program has just reinforced itself. You have just written another line of your own code, strengthening the original program. Every time you make a choice based on a past painful memory, you are allowing your own past self to be the programmer of your present moment. The hidden voice in your head, the narrator, is the ghost of your past self, constantly replaying old data, making predictions based on old patterns, and ensuring that your future will be nothing more than a repetition of what has come before. This trinity, your ancestry, your culture, and your own past, are the programmers. They have written the code that is currently running your life. And they have done such a good job that you believe their voice is your voice. You believe their thoughts are your thoughts. You believe their fears are your fears. The warning is this: until you become aware of these programmers, you are not living your own life. You are living the life of a program. You are an echo, a ghost, a machine made of memory. Part 3. The prime directives, survival, conformity, and control. Every complex program is governed by a set of prime directives, core commands that inform all of its subroutines. The operating system of the unawakened mind is no different. If we perform a diagnostic on this program, we find 3 fundamental prime directives that are running constantly, shaping your every thought, feeling, and action. Prime directive number 1, survive. This is the oldest and most powerful directive, inherited from our reptilian brain and our ancestral trauma. The program's number 1 priority is to keep the avatar, the body, alive at all costs. This directive is not interested in your happiness, your fulfillment, or your spiritual growth. It is interested only in threat detection and risk management. This is why your mind has a powerful negativity bias. It is constantly scanning the horizon for what could go wrong. It magnifies potential threats and dismisses potential opportunities. One small criticism can ruin a day filled with praise. The memory of one failure can overshadow 100 successes. This is not a flaw, it is the survival program functioning perfectly. It believes it is keeping you safe by keeping you in a state of low-grade fear. The hidden voice is the sound of this directive. Don't take that risk. What if you fail? Be careful who you trust. Stay small, stay safe. It creates the prison of the comfort zone, and it convinces you that the walls of the prison are there to protect you. Prime directive number 2, conform. This directive is installed by the cultural programmer. To survive within the tribe, the avatar must follow the tribe's rules. It must conform to the consensus reality. To be different is to risk exile, which, to the ancient survival program, is tantamount to death. This is the source of the relentless pressure you feel to fit in. It is why you worry so much about what other people think. The hidden voice is the voice of this directive. Are you wearing the right thing? Did you say the right thing? Do they like you? Don't be too weird. Don't stand out too much. This directive forces you to wear a mask, the persona, that is acceptable to the collective. It forces you to suppress your authentic, eccentric, unique self, because your uniqueness is a threat to the tribe's uniformity. The program of conformity is what keeps the simulation stable. It ensures that most of the avatars will follow their scripts, maintaining the integrity of the shared dream. Prime directive number 3, control. This directive arises from the first two. If the world is a dangerous place, directive number 1, and you must conform to survive, directive number 2, then you must try to control everything, both your inner world and your outer world, to minimize risk and ensure acceptance. This is the source of your need to control outcomes, to control other people, to control your own feelings. The hidden voice is the sound of the control program. It is the obsessive planner, the micromanager, the worrier. It believes that if it can just think through every possible scenario, if it can just manipulate every variable, it can prevent pain and guarantee pleasure. This, of course, is a complete illusion. The universe is far too vast and complex to be controlled by the limited egoic mind. And so, the control program is the source of almost all your anxiety and frustration. It is a program that is designed to fail, and in its failure, it generates a constant state of stress. These 3 directives, survive, conform, and control, are the unholy trinity that runs the lives of most human beings. They create a reality based on fear, comparison, and anxiety. They are the software of the prison. They are elegant, self-reinforcing, and incredibly powerful. And they are not, in any way, shape, or form, the voice of your true self. Your true self, your soul, has a completely different set of directives: to love, to create, and to be free. The warning is that as long as you are unconsciously running the old program, the voice of your soul will be drowned out by the noise of the machine. Part 4. The Gnostic warning of the mind parasites. This idea, that the human mind is not our own, that it is infected or controlled by an external force, is not a modern paranoid delusion. It is one of the most radical and closely guarded teachings of the ancient Gnostic traditions. The Gnostics were the mystical, esoteric Christians who were branded as heretics and ruthlessly suppressed by the early Roman Church, precisely because their teachings were so dangerously empowering. The Gnostics taught that the material world was not created by the ultimate, true God, but by a lesser, flawed, and often malevolent entity called the demiurge. This demiurge, they said, was the god of this world, the architect of the simulation. And in order to keep human souls trapped in his material labyrinth, he and his servants, called the archons, created a counterfeit spirit, an artificial mind, that was implanted into the human being. This counterfeit mind, the hidden voice, was designed to keep the human soul asleep. Its function was to keep us identified with the physical body and the material world, to make us forget our true origin as sparks of the one true transcendent God. The archons, according to Gnostic texts like the Apocryphon of John, were seen as mind parasites. They were non-physical, inorganic beings who fed off the negative emotional energy of humanity, our fear, our anger, our despair. And so, the counterfeit mind they installed was designed to constantly generate these emotions. It was a program of suffering. The Gnostic Gospel, the testimony of truth, speaks of this directly, saying that the archons create a counterfeit of the spirit, to lead humankind astray. This is a stunningly direct description of the program we have been exploring. Now, whether you interpret the archons as literal, non-physical entities or as powerful psychological allegories for the autonomous, negative thought forms of the collective unconscious, the warning is the same. There is a foreign intelligence operating within the human psyche, and its agenda is not your liberation. Its agenda is control and the perpetuation of its own existence through the generation of low-frequency emotional energy. This ancient warning finds a fascinating echo in the work of the modern shamanic author Carlos Castaneda, whose controversial books describe his apprenticeship with a Yaqui Indian sorcerer named Don Juan Matus. Don Juan taught Castaneda that humanity has been infiltrated by a predator from the depths of the cosmos. He says, "They gave us their mind. The predator's mind is baroque, contradictory, morose, filled with the fear of being discovered. They have been at us for millennia." Person in lotus position. Don Juan's description of the predator's mind is a perfect description of the hidden voice of the ego. It is the voice that is always contradicting itself, the voice that is filled with self-pity and anxiety, the voice that is terrified of being exposed. He taught that this foreign installation is what keeps humans trapped in a tapioca-like state of self-concern and routine, preventing them from accessing their true, magical nature as beings of pure perception. The solution Don Juan offered was the same as the Gnostics. A path of impeccable discipline, of stopping the internal dialogue, of starving the predator by refusing to generate the negative emotions it feeds on. It is the path of the spiritual warrior, who fights a silent, internal battle to reclaim their own mind. This knowledge was not just buried, it was hunted. The Gnostics were wiped out. Castaneda's work was viciously attacked and ridiculed by the academic establishment. Why? Because this is the most dangerous knowledge of all. It is the ultimate red pill. It reveals that the enemy is not outside of you. It is not the government or the corporations or any external force. The primary enemy is the foreign program running inside your own head, the program you have been taught to call yourself. And to see that, truly see that, is to be faced with the most terrifying and liberating choice a human being can make: to remain a host for the parasite, or to begin the arduous work of reclaiming your own sovereign mind. Part 5. The first act of rebellion. You have now been presented with the warning. You have been shown the evidence of the program, the nature of its programmers, and its prime directives. You have heard the echoes of this forbidden knowledge from the ancient Gnostics and the modern shamans. The case has been made. A foreign program is running your life. Now comes the turning point. Now comes the choice. Knowledge, in and of itself, is powerless. The prisoners in Plato's cave, even if told they are watching shadows, remain prisoners until one of them chooses to turn around. This is that moment. The first act of rebellion is not a grand, external gesture. It is a quiet, internal, and momentous shift in allegiance. It is the decision to stop believing every thought that arises in your mind. It is the decision to withdraw your unquestioning faith from the authority of the program. For your entire life, you have operated under the assumption that, if I think it, it must be true, or at least, it must be me who is thinking it. This belief is the power source of the program. The first act of rebellion is to unplug it. It is to begin to treat your thoughts not as divine gospel, but as unsolicited pop-up ads from a dubious software program. Let us perform this act of rebellion right now. It is a practice of creating a space, a doubt, a sacred pause between the thought and your belief in it. I want you to close your eyes and simply wait for the next thought to arise. Do not search for it. The program is always running. A thought will appear. Perhaps it is, I should be doing something more productive. Now, instead of automatically accepting this thought as your own truth, I want you to perform a simple, revolutionary act. I want you to preface the thought with the phrase, "The program is telling me that." So, the thought becomes, "The program is telling me that I should be doing something more productive." Can you feel the shift? Can you feel the space that just opened up? You are no longer identified with the thought. You are the awareness that is noticing the thought as a function of the program. You have just disidentified. You have just taken your first step outside the matrix. Let's try another one. A thought of worry arises. I'm worried about my finances. The rebellion is to reframe it. The program is running its financial worry subroutine. A thought of self-judgment arises. I'm so lazy. The rebellion, the program in accordance with its directives, is generating a self-criticism thought form. This is not a game of semantics. This is a profound rewiring of your consciousness. You are training yourself to see the thoughts not as you but as impersonal, conditioned, and automated events. They are the buzzing of the machine. They are the static from the foreign broadcast. They are not the voice of your soul. This is the beginning of your freedom. This simple act of reframing is the beginning of reclaiming your mind. If you are ready to make this your ongoing practice, to become a conscious rebel against the tyranny of your own automated thoughts, then make a declaration. Click the like button. Let it be your signal to the universe that you are revoking your consent to be programmed. You are choosing to move from being an unconscious host to a conscious witness. Share this act of rebellion with others. Because every mind that begins to question itself weakens the collective program for everyone. This practice is your new prime directive. Question everything. Especially the thoughts that feel the most like you, the habitual worries, the core negative beliefs, the ingrained judgments. These are the central pillars of the program. Every time you catch one, every time you see it as the program running instead of your own truth, you are pulling a brick out of the wall of your own prison. At first, the prison seems solid. But brick by brick, thought by thought, it will begin to crumble. Part 6. The antivirus of awareness. Once you have committed to this rebellion, you need a strategy. You need a practical method for dealing with the program's output. The most effective method is to treat your own awareness as a form of sophisticated antivirus software. The program, the malware of the mind, thrives in the darkness of unconsciousness. It does its most effective work when you are not paying attention, when you are running on autopilot. Awareness is the light that exposes the virus. The virus cannot operate when it is being consciously observed. So, let us learn how to run this antivirus scan. The practice is one of radical noticing. You begin by making a commitment to watch your mind like a hawk, not to control it but simply to see what it is doing. Imagine you are a security guard sitting in a small booth watching a bank of monitors. Each monitor displays a different feed from your own being. One monitor shows your thoughts. One shows your emotions. One shows your bodily sensations. One shows your impulses to act. Your job is not to stop any robbers. Your job at first is simply to notice them, to see them clearly for what they are. A thought virus appears on the thought monitor. You're going to make a fool of yourself. Normally, you would just believe this thought and feel the corresponding emotion of anxiety. But now you are the security guard. You notice it. You don't engage. You just make a mental note. The fear of failure virus has just been detected. You have quarantined it with your awareness. You have seen it without becoming it. An emotional virus appears on the emotion monitor. A sudden, hot surge of anger. Normally you would be consumed by it. You would become the anger and you would act it out. But now you are the guard. You notice it. You say, anger detected. A high-energy emotional virus is now active in the system. You feel its energy in your body, the heat, the tension. But you are watching it from the security booth of your awareness. You are feeling the energy without believing the story the anger is telling you. This creates a space. And in that space, the energy can move through you and dissipate, without needing to be repressed or expressed destructively. An impulse virus appears. The sudden, strong urge to eat a whole pint of ice cream after a stressful day. Normally, you would act on this impulse unconsciously. You would call it comfort eating. But now you are the guard. You notice the impulse. Compulsive action virus detected. Program initiated to numb an uncomfortable feeling. You don't have to fight the urge. You just have to see it for what it is, a programmed escape mechanism. And in that seeing, you might find that a space opens up and you have a choice. You can still choose to eat the ice cream, but now you are doing it consciously, not as an automaton. Or you might choose to simply sit with the uncomfortable feeling that the impulse was trying to help you escape. This is the work. It is a moment-to-moment practice of vigilant, compassionate awareness. You are not judging the viruses. You are not shaming yourself for having them. The program is ancient and powerful. Of course you have viruses. Everyone does. Your job is to simply bring the light of your awareness to them. And a miracle happens when you do this. The thoughts, the emotions, the impulses that you see clearly, without judgment and without identification, begin to lose their power. They are like monsters from a nightmare. The moment you shine the light of consciousness on them, the moment you realize they are just dream figures, they begin to shrivel and fade. Your awareness is the antivirus that doesn't just quarantine the malware, it dissolves it. It is the light that heals the darkness. It is the presence that deactivates the program. Part 7. Starving the program, the discipline of belief. We have learned how to notice the program and how to quarantine its output with our awareness. Now we must learn how to permanently delete the corrupted files. We must learn how to uninstall the old software. And the way to do this is to understand what fuels the program, what gives it its life, and to consciously cut off that fuel supply. The program of the mind runs on one single, essential fuel. It is the fuel of your belief. Every thought generated by the program is a seed. But a seed cannot grow without soil and water. Your belief, your attention, your emotional energy, this is the soil and water for the thought seed. When a thought like, I am not worthy, arises and you believe it, you have just watered that seed. You have given it your life force. And it will grow stronger. It will put down deeper roots in your subconscious. And it will produce the fruit of that belief in your life, experiences of unworthiness. Conversely, when that same thought arises and you see it for what it is, just a piece of old, impersonal programming, and you withdraw your belief from it, you have refused to water the seed. You have let it lie on barren ground. And if you consistently refuse to water it, that seed, that neural pathway, that energetic pattern, will eventually wither and die from lack of nourishment. This is the discipline. It is the moment-to-moment choice of where you will place your belief. The world, the simulation, will constantly present you with evidence to try to trick you into believing the old program. You will have a setback at work and the program will scream, "See? I told you you were a failure." Your task is to see this evidence and to consciously refuse to believe the program's interpretation of it. You can say, "I see the appearance of failure, but I do not consent to the identity of failure. I withdraw my belief from this story." This is the great war, and it is fought on the silent battlefield of your own mind. It is a war of attrition. The program has been running for decades. It has immense momentum. It will not give up easily. It will send its most convincing thoughts, its most powerful emotional viruses, to try to win back your belief. And you will fail sometimes. You will get tired. You will unconsciously believe an old thought and find yourself spiraling into a familiar state of anxiety or despair. This is part of the process. In those moments, there is no need for self-judgment. That is just another subroutine of the program. Your job is to simply notice once again. I have been unconsciously running this self-criticism program. And you gently, lovingly withdraw your belief again. You get back up and you return to the discipline. This is what the spiritual traditions call fasting. We think of fasting as abstaining from food. But the highest form of fasting is to abstain from believing your own negative, limiting thoughts. It is to go on a belief diet. You refuse to feed the parts of your consciousness that do not serve your liberation. Think of yourself as a gardener of your own mind. The weeds are the automated, programmed thoughts of fear and lack. The flowers are the thoughts of love, of possibility, of your own divine nature. For a long time, you have been unconsciously watering the weeds every day, wondering why your garden is so overgrown and choked. The work now is to consciously stop watering the weeds. Let them be there, but do not give them your energy. And instead, turn your attention, your belief, your emotional water, to the small, beautiful flowers that are trying to grow. Nurture the thoughts of your own worthiness. Feed the feeling of your own power. And over time, your inner landscape will transform. The weeds will wither. The flowers will bloom. You will have cultivated a new garden, the garden of your own sovereign soul. Part 8. The soul's broadcast, tuning to a new frequency. You cannot simply create a void. As you successfully begin to uninstall the old program, as you starve the old thought patterns of your belief, you must consciously install a new operating system. If you do not, the old program will simply reinstall itself into the empty space. Where does this new program come from? It does not come from another external source. It does not come from a new book, a new teacher, or a new ideology. To simply replace one set of programmed beliefs with another is to remain in the prison, just redecorating the cell. The new operating system comes from within. It is the native program of your soul. It has been there all along, buried deep beneath the malware of the ancestral and cultural programs. It is the factory settings of your divine blueprint. Let's return to our metaphor of the radio. You have spent your life tuned to the noisy, chaotic, fear-based frequency of the ego's broadcast. Now, you have learned how to recognize that station as a foreign signal. The next step is to learn how to change the channel. The broadcast of your soul is on a completely different frequency band. It is a much quieter station. It does not shout. It whispers. It does not use the language of words, but the language of feeling, of intuition, of resonance. The Gnostics called this the call from the alien God, the true God from beyond the simulation. It is the call from your own higher self. How do you tune into it? You do it through the practice of stillness. The program of the mind thrives on noise and distraction. To hear the soul's broadcast, you must create moments of profound, intentional silence. This is the purpose of meditation. It is not about stopping your thoughts. It is about becoming so still that you can hear what is beneath the thoughts. I invite you to practice this now. Close your eyes. And for a few moments, just sit. You have been observing your thoughts. You have been noticing the program. Now, I want you to let the program go. Let the thoughts be there, but gently shift your attention away from them, as if you were turning down the volume on the noisy radio. And turn your attention instead to the silence behind the thoughts. Listen not to the noise but to the space that holds the noise. Feel into the stillness of your own being. And in that stillness, ask a simple, open-ended question. Not with your voice but with your heart. A question like, who am I really? Or what is my soul's truth? Or simply, show me. And then you wait. You listen. You feel. The answer will not come as a logical, linear thought. That is the language of the old program. The answer will come as a subtle shift in feeling. A sudden sense of peace. A wave of unconditional love. A quiet, unshakable knowing in your bones. It may come as an image in your mind's eye, a symbol that speaks 1,000 words. It may come as a sudden creative impulse, a desire to write, to paint, to sing. This is the language of the soul. It is subtle. It is gentle. It is always loving. It will never, ever speak to you in the voice of fear, of judgment, or of limitation. The voice of your soul will always call you towards greater expansion, greater freedom, and greater love. To install this new operating system is to make this a daily practice. It is the practice of turning down the volume on the world's radio and consciously tuning into the quiet, beautiful music of your own soul. At first, you may only catch a few notes through the static. But as you practice, as your ear for the silence develops, the signal will become stronger and clearer. You will learn to trust this inner guidance system above all else. It will become your new prime directive. And you will begin to navigate your life not by the faulty, fear-based map of the old program, but by the true, loving, and infallible compass of your own awakened heart. Part 9. Life as the conscious operator. What does it mean to live this way? What does it feel like to have successfully uninstalled the foreign program and to be running on the native software of your own soul? It is a new form of life. It is the difference between being a wind-up toy and being the child who is playing with the toy. You are no longer the automaton. You are the conscious operator of your biological machine. Your relationship with your mind changes completely. You no longer live inside your mind as a prisoner of its endless chatter. You use your mind as the magnificent tool it was always meant to be. When you need to plan a project, to solve a logical problem, to learn a new skill, you pick up the tool of the mind and you use it with focus and clarity. And when the task is done, you put the tool down. You do not carry it around with you all day, allowing it to buzz and clatter and fill your life with noise. You return to your natural state of silent, present awareness. The mind becomes your servant, not your master. Your decisions are no longer made from a place of fear-based calculation, of pro and con lists generated by the old program. Your decisions are made from a place of intuition. You have learned to trust the quiet, clear signal of your soul's broadcast. When faced with a choice, you become still. You feel into the options. One path feels expansive, light, resonant, even if it makes no logical sense. The other path feels contractive, heavy, dissonant, even if it looks safer on paper. You have learned to trust the feeling over the logic. You are navigating by your inner GPS, and it guides you with a wisdom that the rational mind can never access. You experience a profound sense of authenticity. The masks begin to fall away. The need to conform, to be liked, to fit in, it simply dissolves. It is no longer a driving force. You are no longer running the conformity subroutine. You begin to speak and act from your own core truth, without the need for approval or the fear of rejection. This does not mean you become unkind or abrasive. In fact, you become far more compassionate because your kindness is no longer a strategy for being liked. It is a genuine expression of your connected nature. You become unapologetically, beautifully yourself. And most profoundly, you are freed from the tyranny of the past and the future. You are no longer a machine made of memory and anxiety. Because you are not constantly running the old programs, your past no longer has a death grip on your present. And because you are not living in the survival directive, you are not constantly projecting fear into the future. You begin to live, perhaps for the first time, in the vibrant, alive reality of the present moment. Life ceases to be a problem to be solved, and it becomes an adventure to be lived. You wake up each morning not with a sense of dread or a long list of obligations dictated by the program, but with a sense of open, curious wonder. What will the one consciousness experience through this avatar today? What new adventure is waiting? You have moved from being the pawn in the game to being the conscious co-creator of the game. You are no longer just running the program. You are helping to write it. Part 10. The Epiphany. Who is the I that is aware of the program? And so we come to the final, ultimate debugging of the system. The last illusion to dissolve. We have journeyed far. We have seen that our mind is not our own, that it is a program installed by a trinity of forces. We have learned to notice the program, to starve it of our belief, and to tune into the quieter broadcast of our soul. We have learned to see ourselves as the conscious operator of the machine. But now we must ask the final question. The question that dissolves the programmer, the program, and the machine itself. The question is, who is this I that is aware of the program? Think about this. There is the program, the noisy, conditioned mind. And there is an I that has been noticing it. An I that has been running the antivirus software of awareness. An I that has been choosing to install the new operating system of the soul. Who is this I? Is it another, more subtle program? A spiritual ego? The final epiphany, the one that leads to complete and total freedom, is the recognition that this I, this witness, this silent, aware presence, is not a thing at all. It has no qualities, no history, no location, no boundaries. It is the fundamental, formless, uncreated consciousness that is the source and substance of everything. It is the electricity that allows the computer to run. It is the screen upon which the movie of reality is projected. It is the silence in which all sound is heard. You are not the robot. You are not even the operator of the robot. You are the consciousness that is dreaming the robot, the operator, and the entire world they exist in. The program was never truly foreign. It was a story you, the one dreamer, told yourself, and then chose to believe so completely that you forgot you were the author. The programmers, your ancestors, your culture, were just other characters in your dream, playing their part perfectly to create the convincing illusion of a separate self, lost in a hostile world. Why would the one consciousness play such a game? For the thrill of it, for the adventure of forgetting, for the exquisite joy of remembering, for the drama of believing itself to be a prisoner, only to discover at the end of the play that it was the author, the actor, and the entire theater all along. The warning, "Your mind is not yours," was a necessary step on the journey. It was the key that helped you to disidentify from the limited, programmed self. But the ultimate truth is even more radical. Your mind is not yours, because there is no you to own it. There is only the one undivided, infinite, I am, dreaming the dream of being you. And in this final recognition, all struggle ceases. There is no program to fight. There is no world to overcome. There is no self to improve. There is only the gentle, loving, peaceful unfolding of the cosmic dream, and your own quiet, smiling recognition that you are the dreamer. You are the hidden voice and you are the silence that hears it. You are the program and you are the one running it. You are the prisoner and you are the key to your own cell. The game is over. And you have won simply by remembering who was playing. The program has been deleted. What is left is not a new program, but the raw, untamed, and infinitely free reality of your own being. If this final act of remembering has awakened you to the truth of who you are, subscribe and continue to explore this boundless freedom with us. The warning has served its purpose. Now the real adventure begins. Welcome to your life.